And now we're live on YouTube.
We are live, Hebsy man.
Beautiful. Hi, everyone. You're tweeting something, Mike. I'm going to tweet your tweet, retweet your tweet. This is very exciting.
Very exciting.
Episode 272.
Woo.
Good stuff. All right. Where's Mike? Have you tweeted?
How fast do you think I am?
Well, no, wait a second. I mean, Dave Randorf has already retweeted. I mean, he's our guest today.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the YouTube.
I think he's on holidays. I mean, Tampa doesn't play till Wednesday. They played Tuesday. They had 8 days off because remember, this would have normally been the Olympic break.
Yeah.
Right?
No, for sure. Yeah.
There were no games scheduled in there. And I don't think Tampa had, they might have had one if that game canceled or postponed because of COVID. So they're now, so he doesn't have a game till next Wednesday. So he could be in Venezuela for all I know doing the show, as long as they've got good internet, right? Mind you, when you're from Florida and you got 8 days off in Florida.
Right.
It's not a bad thing.
No
right?
need to relocate.
I guess not.
Okay, there. I can chew gum and walk at the same time here. I've got a tweet heading your way. It's on its way to college in Clinton right now.
I got it.
Okay, let me open it. I like to see the real-time comments, so let me open that up over here. Dun, 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 dun.
It has been tweeted by moi. I believe we're.
Wow, it's happening. Okay.
I've got all my stuff done.
Last week I forgot the link in there last week. So, okay, here we are. All right, let me see. This is a good show. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Okay. Todd D. Taylor is already on the live stream. Hello,
Todd Taylor. TDT.
Yes, almost. Too bad it's not TNT.
I know. Do you know what's funny is that I know people. I don't know these people. A lot of them I haven't met. Some I have, but I know them by their Twitter handle.
Me too.
And not their real name.
I
mean, you're Toronto Mike. I don't think I've actually said your full,
No, because
name.
it's my brand. I'm Toronto Mike.
It's your brand, and I'm Hebsy,
like
but
Mad
I do
Dog.
have, people do know that I'm Mark Hebsher too. Okay. Should we start that? Oh, we can. It's only 8:58.
Oh my goodness, we got to give people at least a minute here. But how is life? How's it going? Did you have to shovel this morning?
I'm not sure I should reveal really anything until the show starts.
Oh, okay.
I feel bad. I kind of feel bad about because sometimes I'm like, didn't I mention that, Mike? And it was like, well, that was on the red carpet show. It wasn't for all.
So we started too early.
Well, it's not that we started too early. No, not at all. Not in the least bit. I mean, did I shovel? No. My neighbors upstairs, I heard the sound of the shovel hitting the concrete. I thought, okay, I don't have to worry. And I don't have to go anywhere today. Like I got all my stuff done yesterday. If I have to, I could just stay in the whole, I'd rather not. I could stay in the whole day. Lots to do. There's still stuff. There's Olympic stuff still going on.
Yeah, but they're going to bed now in Beijing.
Are they going to bed in Beijing? No. Yeah. Are they?
Well, they're 13 hours ahead of us, which means right now, 10 p.m. Okay, well, by
hardly. I think there's a hockey game that's going on right now.
See, once Canada bowed out, I checked out of men's hockey. It's not
hold that, because I'm going to hold you to that. Okay. I'm holding you to that.
Okay, well,
I say we. You want
to go? Well, okay. Yeah. Let me. Well, you'll hear the music here. I just see now that the process changed. A lot of.
Well, what do you mean the process changed?
Well, I used to do a bunch of things, then I hit the music. Now I'm just hitting the freaking music. So you ready?
That sounds like a good thing for me. Less for you to worry about.
I guess I can enjoy my coffee here. Okay, my brother. All right. Here we go.
Live from Toronto, it's Hebsy on Sports, episode number 272. Hi there, sports fans. Mark Hebsher here in snowy Little Italy and at the mothership in New Toronto, where I assume there's plenty of snow as well. I don't know. It's, there's about 12 kilometers away. It could be beautiful and balmy.
Lots of snow.
Okay, it's Toronto Mike at the ready, as usual. Today on the show, the Maple Leafs love playing at home now. Well, sure. Of course, there's fans in the stands. That helped spur the Maple Leafs on to victory over Sydney and the Penguinos. But there are still those who are not impressed with the Leafs and will not be until the team wins a playoff round. And you know who you are.
Who are those guys?
The Raptors hit the All-Star break on a high. Fred Van Vleet, though, needs to rest those knees during All-Star weekend, even though he's favored to win the three-point shooting contest. I got on with Bodog, a plus 440 to take Freddie to win the three-point shooting contest. Am I out of my mind? No, man, bet on yourself. That's what Freddie says. As expected, Canada beats the U.S. and wins gold in women's hockey. But a lot of folks jumped off the men's hockey bandwagon, and I'm pissed at all of you. Where's the love for the men? I mean, I get it. I mean, everyone wants to win a duet. I get it. But come on, especially ladies. Let's give the men some love. I get all the tweets about women. I get it. I'm on board too. But maybe a couple of tweets about men, just like maybe a little bit of love. Just none.
We'll get into it, Hebsy.
No, come on, a little love for the men, okay? Cast aside. Oh, losers, we don't care about them. We only care about the NHL. In about 30 minutes, we'll be joined by our guest, the TV voice of the Tampa Bay Lightning, Tampa Bay Devil Rays, Tampa Bay Lightning. Defending Stanley Cup champs, call them whatever the hell you want. Winners is what they are, and Dave Randorf is as well. He's my guest. First, though, my exhausted colleague, Toronto Mike. Anything happened to you interesting this week, Mike?
Hebsy, thank you for your contribution to episode 1000 of Toronto Mike, man. It was you sent in a great clip, which is in the episode, and I appreciate it, buddy.
So my girlfriend says, can you tell me where in the 5-hour epic, she says, like, where's your testimonial? I'm like, I don't know. She goes, can you find out from Mike? I said, I really don't think Mike, okay. I really don't think that you probably did, but it's something like for someone to go, hey, Mike, I don't want to listen to the whole 5 hours. Could you tell me where to go? Like, do I fast forward to this number to hear this clip?
Got that request from many people. And you ready for our mutual fan, Tyler Campbell, actually took some time yesterday to document the timestamp of every voice you hear on episode 1000.
That's fantastic.
I actually can get that to you guys.
That's great. But that's for another time because this is my podcast. Like,
hey,
here's another thing, Mike. I think you spread yourself a little thin this week. No offense. I know it's a great rush of blood to the ego. I've had it many, many times before. It's great when everyone is saying, how great you are, what an accomplishment it is. And many of us, but at some particular point, you got to go, wait a sec. I got to get back on the rails here. Reality. I got to. Hey,
I'm on time. I'm here.
No, that's not it. But what happened was I found that you during the course of, I think you stretched yourself a little thin because I think this was a tweet by you while the men were losing in the quarterfinals 2-0 in like the fucking second period. I see a tweet from Mike that says, this isn't real NHL hockey anyway. Bring on the women tonight. Like you basically, jumped off the bandwagon and broke both your ankles as far as I'm concerned.
I wasn't on the bandwagon.
You were on the bandwagon. You have to be because you're Canadian. You're telling me you're rooting for Canada to lose in hockey?
Oh, God,
men's hockey?
No. I wish you had quoted my tweet. I was much more eloquent there, but essentially, yes, I would love to win gold.
You weren't that eloquent. You know what you did? No, you were pissed off because Sweden scored, and I know because we all do this. You do it a lot too. Is you just got on the keyboard and went blah 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 and hit send. No, and you really didn't think about the influence that you have on people, Mike, by jumping off the bat or by saying, I give up on this. Okay, you do the same thing with the Leafs. I'm not going to till the playoffs. What you do is you sap the energy out of every fan that wants to believe, that wants to bet on themselves, that wants to bet on Canada maybe coming back. Okay, but no, I'm done with them. That's what you did.
Not a good team. Did you watch any of that men's hockey?
I watched all of it. Okay, and I still wanted them to win. I didn't give up. When it was 2-0 in the second.
I didn't give up. I said I didn't care.
I didn't give up and then tweet out that I gave up. That's the difference. You can give up without announcing to everybody. And you're very influential, Mike. Oh, well, I'm not interested in this team. It's not NHL hockey players anyway. Right. I didn't care in the first place. That's kind of the way I got it. And I was hurt.
It's not that I gave up, it's that I didn't care. I didn't care when we lost to Germany 4 years ago in that quarterfinal. I did not care that we were going to lose to Sweden in this quarterfinal because, my friend, just like I don't care if we win the Spengler Cup. It's fun to win the Spengler Cup. Let's go Canada. I root for Canada to win the Spengler Cup. Who cares?
Don't compare the Olympic Games.
How is it?
Don't compare the Olympic Games and the Spengler Cup.
The caliber of hockey and the quality of Canadian
Mike, the Olympic Games. You shit on Team Canada's men's hockey team. You shit on
the only Canadian contingent at Beijing that wasn't the best. You know what I mean? Every other discipline there, including the women's hockey, was our very best athletes in that discipline, except men's hockey.
The players. You just basically said they're not real Canadians. They could, cobble
I never said that. I said
the attitude of that tweet alone. I think thousands of people just turned off Team Canada's men's team. Like you did. Anyway, that was my thing. Because that was in the middle of the game. This is you're live tweeting and you're going, the hell with it.
Because your
I'm
buddy
done.
Greg Brady,
I'm not. Why did
Greg
you even
Brady,
watch in the? Well, if you weren't interested, why did you even watch in the first place, Mike?
Of course I watch, but your BFF Greg Brady was talking about how Canada hasn't yet got over losing to Germany in the quarterfinals, and I snapped at him, and I think most Canadians agree. We got over it in 2 minutes because it wasn't best on best. We care about best on best.
And so any Olympic event that doesn't feature who you feel are the best that the country has to offer, you don't watch, or you don't root for them as hard, Give me.
No, you're not as.
So what was your attitude during when the men's were playing hockey? You weren't into it from the start, but you watched.
I watched.
Might win. Because they might win. And then you can say, "Ooh, I'm a Canadian."
No, I watched because I'd like Canada to win gold.
You are a classic bandwagon jumper. Admit it. It's okay. There's lots of you out there. But you're classic. You're not a diehard Canadian, dyed-in-the-wool Canadian fan. You're a front runner.
I want to know how many Hebsy on. By the way, you weren't even into the Olympics last time I talked to you, but how many Hebsy on?
I told you it'll take a while. And this week, the past week, were when they were.
And how upset are you that we lost to Sweden? How upset are you
that we lost Sweden in the quarterfinals?
Right.
I'm not upset, but I watched the whole game and I appreciated the effort. And
how upset were you in Nagano when Canada lost to the Czech Republic?
Mike, what year was that? Do you
that
honestly
was devastating
think?
to this country because it was our very best players in Nagano.
Are you out of your mind? Do you honestly think that in my mind, I'm thinking about horrible things that happen to Canadian hockey teams? What are you, nuts? I got a life to live. I'm not Nagano in 98. You're still thinking about Nagano? What about the girlfriend that dumped you in 1998? Still worried about her too?
I was married in 98, but
wait a second. Hang on a second.
What do we got there, Hebsy? Hebsy's distracted. He's piled on here, and what do you see there?
Here. Sorry about that.
Oh my goodness, what's going on over there?
I blew a fuse.
Oh. At least your internet held out. I'll be doing this solo. If your internet goes, I'm going to be doing it just talking about.
My internet's not going to go. We got to get to the show.
But just for the record, though, last week you shit all over the Olympics. You didn't give a.
I didn't shit on the Olympics. I said I wasn't interested at that point because they weren't giving out medals.
And suddenly you're on my ass because I didn't care that we lost.
You labor under the misconception. Mike, honest to God, all right? Come on. Admit it. You tweeted something out that if you could have brought it back and thought about it before you hit send, you may not have tweeted it out. Because man, if you're a Canadian, you got to be with them thick or thin. It doesn't mean you have to tweet out that you're with them thick and thin, but don't tell people if you're walking away from something. That's all I'm saying. All right. We're trying to foster a relationship with the listeners and viewers. And here you are going, fuck Canada's hockey fucking men's team. I'm rooting for the women.
I didn't care.
Kind of the way it came out to me in real time. Okay. Now, is everything else okay? Things all right at home with the kids now?
Things are
Back
good.
To school? All good?
Today's a PD day. Today's a PD day. Yeah. Okay. So, but back to school. Everyone's good, man. Good. It's good to get them back on the ice too.
So more kids are listening now because they're not at school today. Good. So we have to have a good show. So before we get into the show, I had a bunch of prop bets on the Super Bowl, which by the way was last Sunday, which by the way, people will say to you, oh, I had the winning team. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't have the winning team. I mean, I picked the Rams to win, but they had to win by a certain point spread, which was 4. And if they don't screw up that extra point, I get a push out of the thing. But I'm not mad because I didn't lose that much. I lost out on the national anthem because I don't know why, but Mickey Guyton had never sung the national anthem in more than 1:32, and she went 150, so blew that bet.
The fix is in.
Yeah, I think so. I think they knew. The Drake curse bet, though, I won that one because he wore Rams stuff. But what happened was, the idea was you bet against the Rams, and if you did against the point spread, you would have won because since he won the bet, not the game. But I did have my Rams winning the Super Bowl, blue Gatorade being spilled on the coach, and Cooper Kupp winning the MVP. Wow. I only had $2 on that one, though. But anyway, so I hope you played along too via Bodog. You still have a chance to get yourself a free Hebsy on Sports T-shirt. The final design is going into the printer. Okay. And with my catchphrase that I stole years ago, top shelf where they keep the peanut butter.
Who'd you steal it from?
I can't tell you that. I have to actually I actually have to contact them.
Mike Lang?
No. This was an actual player. This was a goalie. This was a goalie. This was a goalie that they would beat. His weak spot was, where's your weak spot? Top shelf where they keep the peanut butter. And he'd lift his arm up anyway. And I stole it from him. I don't think I ever asked for permission. I don't think you can, can you patent an expression?
Yeah, because that guy who Michael Buffer let's get ready to it. If I say it, I have to give him money, so I'm not going to finish it.
Right. And Taddy also has Wee No Gi, the English versions of those. I have the French ones. So yeah, listen, folks, sign up with Bodog. They'll match your deposit from $25 up to $200. Go to hebsy.online/Bodog. Hebsy.online/Bodog. Click on the picture of me and Mike from 1994. I think that picture was taken. Register, deposit, and make a play. You know what I did? I bet $100 on the Blue Jays to win the World Series at plus 900. That's providing they have a World Series. Wow. 9-1 on the Jays. I bet 100.
You know what?
And it wasn't even my 100 because I put 100 in. See what happened? I put 100 in the Bodog account. Bodog matches the 100. So I took the Bodog 100, the 100 that they gave me.
All the Hebsy on Sports fans right now should go do that. Again, what is it? Hebsy.online/Bodog.
You should know it off by heart, Mike.
I just said it.
Know it off by heart.
Go there and get that. You get the free money from Bodog, and then you get the T-shirt later, which is bonus, man.
Right.
But that free money, all of that free money, put it on the Blue Jays to win the World Series. It's found money, so you don't, no principle lost. And imagine the passion in your heart and in your wallet when the Jays win the World Series.
So, Mike, you'll be registering as soon as the show is over, right? And by the way, in order to claim your limited edition T-shirt, you go to hebsy.online/T, just the letter T, right? That's it. That's just a claim. So if you've already bet with Bodog and you're eligible for a T-shirt, just go to hebsy.online/T, and there's a little form there, and you fill out the little form, and magically the T-shirt will appear at your door.
Am I going to?
And it's limited edition. That's it. Limited edition.
Amazing.
It takes just a few minutes to register. All right. It takes a few minutes to register. It only took the Maple Leafs 21 seconds to score in front of actual fans at the Scotiabank Arena last night, where there was like the return of hockey. Mike, what is that thing? Oh, your Hebsy on Sports things. It says 9 to 10:20. You've got to kill that, Mike, please. It keeps jumping up on me. It keeps reminding me.
9 to 10:20. Yeah.
You've got to remind, but that reminder, even though it's past 9 o'clock now, that reminder keeps popping up into my computer and going.
Sounds like a Hebsy problem.
Ruining the show.
So what do you want me to do?
Because you're gonna have to just kill that thing. Get rid of it.
I don't remove you from the invite. It was like a personal favor to you. Holy smokes.
Just remove it, because I know that Hebsy on Sports is from 9 a.m. I know. So please get rid of that thing.
I could do no right today.
No, that's not it. I was just into my flow about talking about the Leafs.
I know, but I didn't do anything.
I was all excited. I'm just telling you for future things. Was I admonishing you?
You can't control your notification settings.
Mike, just tell me how to stop it during the show. I turn off my phone. Nobody can phone me. No, nothing's ringing. Save for somebody knocking on the door at this time of morning. People know that during this hour, I can't be interrupted by anything. And if that means you canceling,
I'm removing you from the invite as we speak.
Thank you, Mike. You know what I'm good at? Not very many things. One of them is sort of talking about sports. The rest, I'm not good. Anyway, there was about 5,000 fans in their seats last night when Maurice the Rocket Matthews scored his 33rd goal of the year, tying with Leon Draisaitl for the league lead at the time. It's actually Austin Matthews, but I kind of like the Rocket, right? Because, there it is again.
No, that's me removing you. It's probably telling you it's been changed. So you won't get it again. Relax.
Draisaitl, by the way. Draisaitl's got 35 this year. He's got 35.
Meeting invite.
Matthews had 33. Forget the invite, okay? This Leaf game last night, they won. They beat the Pittsburgh Penguins. Crosby just scored his 500th goal the other night. He was on a high. Probably had too much to drink after the celebration. You know, when you score 500, and then they couldn't beat the Leafs. They couldn't beat Jack Campbell, Soupy Campbell, Soup. Rocket Richard Trophy. Draisaitl's got 35 now. The others won last night. I hate talking about Edmonton. Rocket Matthews has 33. Chris Kreider of the Rangers has 33 goals. And Ovechkin's got 31, so he's not out of it either. Jack Campbell, 45 of 46 saves. Stopped 45 of 46 shots, many of them from close range. You notice I didn't say point blank range because everyone says that. Everyone says it before. I don't think Bob Cole ever said that. I don't believe Bob Cole ever said that from point. I cannot believe that Bob Cole said it because that was a Bill Hewitt line. I don't think Bob Cole ever used point blank range. I could be wrong. Prove me wrong. Morgan Riley looked like Bobby Orr on that one rush. Did you see that? Campbell hands him the puck. Campbell gets the primary assist. Morgan Riley goes coast to coast and scores like a beauty goal. And you're going, Was that Borja Salming? A Leaf defenseman has not done that since Borja Salming. I'm telling you, folks. Yeah, it was fabulous. So that made it 2-0 on the power play in the second period. And then the vaunted Maple Leaf penalty kill struck. Boy, were they dangerous. I mean, if I were the Penguins, I would have just declined every penalty. David Kampf scored a beauty to make it 3-0. Pens got one back when Malkin, Gino, found the net 3.5 minutes into the third. And then the Leafs quickly restored the 3-goal margin on a gorgeous goal by Michael Bunting, his 16th, and then hung on as Campbell stopped 18 of 19 Penguin shots in the third. That's your recap. That's like a sportscast. That's what we used to do in the morning sportscast, right? If people didn't see the game and they're listening in the morning, give us the recap, Hebsy. What happened? In the third period, by the way, the folks at Split and Chicklets, Spit and Chicklets must have said, "This is perfect. This is our GIF from now on." Austin Matthews runs face first into the crossbar. He's like chasing a Penguins player, and he's looking past where the goal net is, and bang! He just and the tooth went flying, like on Jay Onright's show. They like circle. They see the tooth flying out. They slow it down, and they see the tooth being dislodged as it hits the crossbar, and then they circle it, right? And there it is, right there. And I think it was an incisor too, Mike.
That's an important one. Hey, so you mentioned Jay Onright. I just got to ask you, now that you suddenly fell in love with the Olympics overnight there, are you seeing a lot of your buddy Dan O'Toole now? Because Dan O'Toole is like the most covered Olympian in Beijing, I'd say.
Jay has made fun of Dan 2 nights in a row without mentioning Dan's name, but mentioning the name of the gambling site. 2 nights in a row. It's pretty funny, actually. Yeah, it's good. So anyway, so Matthews gets into it with the crossbar, loses a tooth, leaves the game for, I don't know, a shift, maybe he lost, comes back. There's a quick close up, right? Like, I'm sure the director, the producer was like, all right, camera 4, whoever was across the ice that got shots of the bench. All right, 4, zoom in, get as close as you can in on Matthews' mouth there. And so there was one where he's talking or whatever, and then they freeze that, and then they zoom into the, you could see the gap where the incisor used to be. Didn't miss any, he missed like a couple of shifts. By the way, Mike, last night, again, first time with fans in the stands.
Yeah. And
from what I can tell, but I've been listening so often to canned sound effects and crowd noise that you're just never sure what's live and what's Memorex. And I've seen the stories of how, the audio engineer, the audio director can easily pump in, crowd sound that mixes in with the 10,000 people.
Sure, to sweeten it.
Yeah, sweeten. Last night's announced attendance, 8,139, which makes me believe that they couldn't sell all the tickets, Mike, because 50% capacity is, carry the one, 9,400. So 8,139, that's 1,300 less than capacity. You're telling me there were 1,300 available seats to watch the game last night?
Don't they have enough season ticket holders to cover that amount?
I don't think that has anything to do with it. I think is the announced attendance turnstiles or tickets sold? If it's turnstile count, then 1,300 people just didn't show. Really? Didn't show up? Penguins?
Well, is that shocking in a
shocking in Toronto? Shocking. It's absolutely, every seat should be full. Okay, don't tell. People are dying for Leaf. Although they
especially because Crosby, like how many?
They are expensive, but tickets aren't cheap, man. I mean, people don't have the dough.
Right.
They did before, and the 8,000. What's going on now? Your phone. This. I'm telling you, folks. This podcast. I'm going on vacation in a couple of weeks. Right? It's been I don't know how long, but things are happening in the last couple of weeks, last couple of hours. Alarms going off and dinging, and being distracted by that. Like I said, did I say? Mike, I should have said it about myself. We're spreading ourselves too thin. We got notifications on this device, things going on over there, people congratulating us on how great we are, trying to look after family stuff. Man, it's busy. We got lots going on here. And on March 1st, we go to 100% capacity, which means, and I'm not just talking 100% means you can fill the place. I'm talking about, Mike, you and I have to be at 100% capacity. If every other business is going to be, we got to get up to that level.
I never dip below 99. That's my rule.
This week you were about 96. I'm sorry, buddy. Our women won gold against the not so hated Americans in hockey the other day. I stopped hating the Americans when, and I can't think of who the two players are, got married. One from Team Canada, one from Team USA. I stopped hating them. How can I? You got back, come on. And they all play together. You know, they all play in the same professional league. Sure. And let's face it, folks from other part of the world, they look at the Americans and Canadians and go, you guys are from North America, right? They don't go, well, you're from the Canadian side of the border and you're from the American side.
Yes, they do.
No,
yes,
they don't.
Do.
Fuck right off. They do not. Okay.
I spent a lot of time in Germany and the Netherlands. And once I tell them I'm Canadian, they treat me completely
Mike, I'm talking about when they come over here, they say, we're all the same. We're the same. You're North American. It's not unlike when we look at people from South America and go, oh, you're South American. It could be Peru, it could be Ecuador, it could be Colombia, it could be Venezuela, but it's sort of like you guys are from South America. When people look at the continent, okay, unless they really hate the Americans, we're kind of interchangeable. In fact, yesterday, a gorgeous goal by Canada in the Steve Harvey Cup, or I don't know the name, some international competition. Great
Steve Harvey Cup.
Well, I don't know what it's called. It's a name of some guy I've never heard of, but it's a competition amongst the top playing soccer nations amongst women. And yesterday it was packed, and it was Canada against England. And this goal by Janine Becky was a stunner. Male, female, elephants could not. This was a gorgeous left footer to the top corner. Beautiful. And I'm like, yeah, Janine Becky, it's Canadian. She's from Colorado. She's got the Canadian. So there's lots of people from other parts of the world that are representing countries. They may be, they may not be fully 100% Canadian, whatever. We accept them for where they are. Half of China's Olympic team, more than half, are not from China. Never been to China before, but they get those specially. All the Chinese hockey players, like you don't have to be of China. You don't have to have 0.25% of Chinese blood in you. All you had to do was at some point be in China and play hockey for a team in China, and that's good enough.
Yeah, you're on the team. You're on the team. Find them on the map. If you can find China on the map, they might give you citizenship.
Yeah, you're on the team. Oh, you've been to China. You've eaten Chinese food before. You're on the team.
Right.
Anyway, so our win against the Americans, who we don't hate, those Americans. It's not like now you might. Do. You hate them, the Americans? Why?
I think the rivalry is pretty fierce. Yeah.
Bullshit. They play each other all the time. There's another game. Oh, this one's for the Olympic. Okay, it's a different story. But then they're going to play them again, the 3 Nations Cup, 4 Nations Cup, the World Championships. And again, it's great. Mm-hmm. But it would be like watching Ali Frazier, every single, like 4 times a year. Or just give me some other teams.
Anyway, I wish.
Anyway, yeah, that's right. Me too. Like any other, I'll put I think the IIHF should just put a ton of money into a couple of countries and say, look, we're going to develop your women's hockey program so that you can compete with Canada and the United States. We've got to have something here.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Agreed.
All right. So 4 years ago, the Americans took the gold medal. So now, revenge is sweet. This time around, we got the gold, and Marie-Philippe Poulin became the only player, regardless of gender, in Olympic history to score in 4 gold medal games. Talk about clutch.
Wow.
Is she the greatest Canadian Olympian ever? Would it be Clara Hughes, Cindy Clausen? Charles Hamelin just won his 6th Olympic medal. Charles Hamelin.
Yep, tied the record. I think it was Clausen's record, for Winter Olympics at least.
Clausen and Hughes, right? 6.
Well, Hughes, because Hughes is in 2 different, in summer and winter.
That's right. 6. I would compare Marie-Philippe Poulin with Christine Sinclair as far as leadership goes. I mean, Christine's got a gold and a bronze in the Olympics, but what she's done as a leader, as a clutch Canadian, I would put those 2 on the same level. A champion, period. Canadian champions.
But watch out for Penny. I just shout out to Penny, who has another Olympics in her.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think Marie-Philippe has another Olympics under,
Yeah, she's incredible. She's
fantastic.
She's incredible.
That goal that she scored. Okay, off the rebound, she was beyond the goal line. Okay, and in one fell swoop, banked it in off the goalie who was going backwards. Was gorgeous. The other day, Canada's men's hockey team was eliminated in the quarterfinals by Sweden. They lost 2-0. I'm still a little bit upset that.
Didn't we cover this?
Well, yeah, but I don't know. The attitude of, we love you, Canada, win or tie.
Not a good team, and not
once you're a loser. No, once you're a loser, though, you're a loser, I guess, right?
No, just not our best.
But still, all the more reason to support all.
I do support them, but I don't care when they lose.
All of them. I
don't care.
By the way,
yeah, go ahead.
Did you like Team Canada's hockey jerseys?
No, I did not. I didn't like the
No,
contrast.
why? Why didn't you like the hockey jerseys?
I don't like that contrast of black on red. I just need, maybe it's because I'm getting older and my eyes are having trouble. I need a better contrast. Like, give me the good old fashioned, I don't know, white on red or red on white. That's good contrast.
What about the American jerseys? What are you talking about? You couldn't read their numbers either. Did you notice that?
Oh, you asked me about
white
Canada.
on white. White on white. It was awful. Okay. Even Chris Cuthbert during the Leafs Penguins game last night said, and I quote, "Oh, readable numbers. What a concept." That was his line. That was just a, I mean, and then last night he's doing the Slovakia Finland game. And is he doing the game this morning also? Is he
Probably
doing the Sweden ROC game? That would be a triple header. Imagine, Chris, you're going to the you're going to call a game live from the Scotiabank Arena, Leafs Penguins. Okay, have a bite to eat, and then and then go do Slovakia against Finland, and then get a little nap in, and then go do Russia. What do they call ROC?
ROC.
Okay, in the USA.
I know. I was going to say that
against Sweden.
Give me an R.
That's a triple header for Chris Cuthbert, for gosh sakes. And props to Cuthbert and Brian Mudryk, who called the women's games. I mean, how they could figure out who had the puck, what number that player was. I mean, and you're calling it off a monitor, too. Oh,
yeah.
We're going to talk to our guest about that very thing.
But can I before we leave Olympics, because I know you hate the Olympics.
No, we're not leaving Olympics, Mike.
Okay,
we're pausing.
Can I get a comment from you?
We're pausing.
Your thoughts on Kaylee Humphries? Because Kaylee Humphries is
Callie. You mean Callie Humphries?
Is that how you say it? Callie? Okay. Callie Humphries, as you know, and listeners know, was an Olympic medalist for Canada. We nurtured her. We groomed her. She married an American, and now she won gold for America. And I'm just curious, what are your thoughts on athletes that do that?
Sounds to me like you're upset at Callie Humphries.
I don't mind. I actually don't mind if you start like Elaine Go, for example, is an American snowboarder and ski cross, etc. Who Gu? Okay, Elaine Gu. I watched her 100 times. You think I know how to say her name?
She's American. She's an American.
Yeah, she's American, and she competes for China because her mom is of Chinese descent. But that's for marketing purposes, right? I don't mind if you start with a country and you stick with it. My issue is when you're with a country for years and years and years, and then you switch midstream, like that. Irks me. I just want to know your take.
Oh, you mean like the Canadian who won in speed skating, who had been on the Dutch team for like 10 years?
Yeah, I don't like
that
it
guy.
Way.
I don't even know the guy's name. I just remember people were going, "Oh, Canada speed skater." I don't know the dude's name. He moved to Edmonton to marry a girl. I don't even remember the situation. And suddenly we're supposed to go, "Oh yeah, this guy." Same thing. This guy was a Dutch national on the Dutch national team. Wasn't good enough to make the Dutch speed skating team. Right? Or was the last alternate.
Although that's almost different.
No, that's bullshit. And then Canada, and then for some reason you're allowed to go, "Oh, come here. We can sponsor you. And here's a woman you can marry. And then you can be on the Canadian Olympic team and win a gold medal."
But that's different. I'm talking about Callie Humphries, who would have made Canada's, obviously would have been our bobsled. What do they call it? Monobob competitor if she stayed in Canada where we nurtured and she switched sides. That in that situation, what's your take? Because then I have a special guest waiting in the room.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with it at all, Mike. I think you're hung up on this Callie Humphries thing, okay? If you were Callie Humphries and you thought that Canada bobsleigh was jerking you around, right, and you had an opportunity to get married to someone from another country and play for and represent that country, in a heartbeat you would do it. You think you're going to go, "Oh, I owe the country of Canada"? No, the Canadian Bobsled Association, whatever the hell they're called, probably jerked her around. She didn't like it. She's not the first and won't be the last to not be happy with the way she was being treated and had another option. We would all do the same thing. I love Callie Humphries. Good for her. Now, before we get to our special guest, a word from NateMakesSoap.com. I love it. Mike loves it. Here, I got a bar of it right here.
I smell great. I wish you were here right now. I smell fantastic.
You do. And our special guest is going to get some as well. This, by the way, is bourbon tobacco. It's NateMakesSoap.com. He's giving away free samples. If you live in Toronto and you're east of the 427, west of McCowan, south of Steeles, and north of the lake, we don't deliver to Wards Island, you get one. Go to hebsy.online/soap. Hebsy.online/soap. And there you go. Nate will deliver to you. Support the podcast and help support a local small business. Also, we have a partnership set up with the good people at goodfootdelivery.com. That's a Toronto courier service providing meaningful employment to the neurodiverse and developmentally disabled community. They offer employment and support to a community of people who traditionally have challenges finding regular, meaningful employment. This is a great company to use when you want to order, let's say, from a local business that doesn't offer delivery, local bookstore, specialty food store, local pharmacy, whatever. Go to goodfootdelivery.com. Use the promo code Hebsy50 for 50% off your first 2 orders. Our guest today, who's been waiting patiently, listening to the airy badinage between me and Mike, is the play-by-play television voice of the Tampa Bay Lightning. He has escaped the cold winters of Canada for a sweet gig in the Sunshine State after many years with Sportsnet, TSN, and other Canadian media outlets. Let's welcome Dave Randorf to the show. Hey, Dave.
Guys, how are you?
Dave, we missed you. You were supposed to be on the very first show. Something came up with COVID, and we're glad that you could finally make it. But you were our first choice for the new format.
You're right. I remember that. I was supposed to be right out of the gate. You sent me a message. I've been on with Mike before, but I'd never been on with you guys before. And something came up. I can tell you what came up. I tested positive, and I went on the shelf for a little bit and went into quarantine. I really was fine. Thankfully, everything was okay. I had very mild symptoms, but I had to kind of lay low, and that's what I did. So I'm glad we were able to reschedule. This is great to be on with you guys.
And so are you on holidays now? Because the Lightning don't play till next Wednesday. So 8 days off in Florida. What are you going to do?
Well, I think your astute podcast viewers can probably look at this room and notice this is not my house. This is looking very much like a hotel room. So yes, we've taken a little drive down the Gulf Coast. So we don't have another game until next week. And actually, I don't do another game myself until March 1st because there's a couple of national games in there here on national TV in the United States. So we get the night off. I got a little time off to just kind of enjoy. I've got my sons coming down on Saturday, and the weather is great, and life is okay down here in Florida.
Do you want to tell the audience that the ages of your three sons?
Sure, no problem. I've got 3 boys, and 3 young men actually, and I'm very proud of. Kyle is 24, and Blake and Trevor are twins who are 20, just about to turn 21. Their birthday is St. Patrick's Day, so they're almost there.
Nice. And so you got the gig in Tampa because I guess the success of Chris Cuthbert at Sportsnet. So when Chris came over to Sportsnet, Jim Houston was the number 1 play-by-play guy. And you were in the rotation amongst the Sportsnet hockey play-by-play guys. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. No, I was, at the time, I was number 2.
I didn't want to say it because I didn't know if they, when you would come in, they would say, "Hey, here comes number 2." And when Houston would walk in, they go, "Hey, there's number 1." And then John Bartlett was, "Hey, there's number 3." Like, how did that work?
There was no depth chart per se, but I think you could just basically rank it on your assignments and what you did on a weekly basis and on Saturday nights, and certainly when it came to playoffs. So that's what the level that I reached to at Sportsnet and with Hockey Night in Canada, and very proud to have gotten to that level too.
And so when it was announced that Cuthbert was coming over from TSN, and it was pretty obvious that he was going to be doing a lot of hockey, what happened to you then? Like, what did they say? Because you came over from TSN to Sportsnet. You were one of the few that left TSN, right? Like, they made all kinds of offers. Sportsnet did when they made that deal, that Rogers made that $1 billion deal. So like, were you confident that you could be doing hockey in Canada, or what was going through your head?
Well, I think this is close to 2 years ago now, and quite honestly, my life has changed so positively that I don't really spend a lot of time thinking about this.
Right.
So I'm going back and kind of rethinking all the details. Essentially, decisions are made in every business that it's not unlike a salary cap situation for a team. They make a trade, they bring in a guy, and you can't fit everybody under the cap. I'm quite confident it was a decision was made to, it had nothing to do with my performance or my character or my abilities or anything like that. It was just simply, I'd been told one thing, that everything was fine, and then things changed rapidly. COVID hit, and a lot of moving parts started happening for everybody in every walk of life, including myself. So it was a bit of a surprise. Actually, not a bit of a surprise. It was a big surprise. I think I was on Mike's Toronto Mike podcast like mere weeks before, talking about things and how things were going and how things would resume and all that kind of stuff. So a phone rang one day, and I found out about Chris simultaneously about where I fit into the picture, and that was that. So you immediately start. I guess the one thing that I will say is that you get to a point in your career, I can only relate it to broadcasting, whereby you reach a level, of experience and reputation and a national network level. It's not common for a broadcaster kind of at that level, when you've just done a conference final the year before, to kind of get left at the curb. And that's, I don't say this bitterly at all. Everything's great, everything's fine, but that's what happened. So you now have to start pivoting and thinking, amidst all the COVID shutdowns and amidst all of the uncertainty that's out there in everybody's business, you have to start pivoting and start thinking about, okay, you got to do a lot of self-assessment. It was a great experience, actually, looking back, to grow and to stay positive and to recognize that despite the fact that I've only had one job and worked in one industry my whole life, you aren't defined by that. What you are defined by is the hard work and dedication and character and ability that got you to that position. That's what defines you. And so, once you keep moving forward, which I did, things opened up, and I'm very grateful to get this opportunity. It's changed everything in terms of listen, I am very, very proud to have been, not many guys get to sit above the crowd on a Saturday night, on Hockey Night in Canada. I did it for 6 seasons and loved every minute of it. It's an even shorter list of guys who have called a conference final. So I'm glad to say that I've been able to do that. But I don't really miss it because everything's just turned out so exciting and great down here.
The expression, it's not what you know, it's who you know. How important was that in you getting the Tampa gig? Because John Cooper used to watch you on television when you were on the air in Vancouver. Tell me about that story. I heard bits and pieces of it, but I want to hear from you.
Well, first of all, John, yes, I did. I'll tell you the story in a moment, but I don't know how much.
I don't know either. I like the story though, right? I like the idea.
With all due respect to John and Cooper.
Yeah.
We get along just fine. And
it didn't hurt. It didn't hurt.
No, I guess not.
Right, but I mean, that wasn't the. It wasn't.
No, but okay. So the story is.
It's a good story, though. Come on.
Yeah, listen. John Cooper was set to be the head coach for Team Canada at the Olympics because he's Canadian. A lot of people may not know that. I don't know, but he has coached Canada World Championship before. He's from BC originally. Yeah. He's lived in the States now for a lot of years. He went to law school in the States and all that kind of stuff. So he's been down in the United States for so long. But he is originally from BC. And there was a time in his life when he was going to UBC and living in the Lower Mainland. And back then, in those days, in the late 80s, early 90s, much like Sportsline in Toronto, a show that I think everybody's heard of, there was a show in Vancouver called Sports Page. It was basically the exact same thing, although we were on at 11 instead of 11:30 like you and Jim were. And that's the show everybody watched, the show I watched growing up. And now I'm on Sports Page. And so anyway, he was watching it just like everybody else did at UBC. And it was the show, not because I was on. It was just, there was no Sportsnet. There was TSN really didn't pay much attention to the Pacific time zone. And that's where you got your Canucks highlights and everything else. So fast forward, he gets the job in Tampa Bay, replaces Guy Boucher. It's late in the season. And I'm doing my job now as the voice of the Montreal Canadiens. And Tampa rolls into town, and John's a bit of a story because he's got this interesting background. And there he is, like 20 guys, media guys deep in pregame media session in Montreal, the Bell Center, right outside the Lightning locker room. And he's answering a couple questions, and he spots me, and I've never met him before. And he spots me, and he goes, and he points at me, he goes, "Whoa, wait a second. Sports Page, Dave Randorf," like out of nowhere. And so I got a chuckle out of that. And it's amazing, and I know you can relate to this, Hebsy. My last show on Sports Page in Vancouver was 1995, July of 1995, and I don't go more than 6 months to this day without somebody bringing up Sports Page. I've done lots of things in my career, worked at TSN, worked at Sportsnet, worked at national level across Canada, but Sports Page always comes back, and it certainly did that day. So we had a bit of a chuckle about that as well. And then, of course, when I showed up in Tampa, he brought that up again, thought that was kind of funny. And so that's the backstory of how I first met John Cooper.
I left Sportsline at Global just before that, Dave. I would have been May of 1995 to take a job to do Argos play-by-play, and then later part of the Leaf play-by-play team with Joe Bowen. But yeah, but with me, it's the same. I mean, listen, if you were on television at a certain time and you were on, and it was on every night, I think that's the thing. It was every night. If it was once a week, sure. But if you're on every night for a while, you become part, of people's lives. And so all those years, I'm not.
Oh, there's no doubt about it.
It's great to be recognized, but in that case, there to be recognized and not expected, like out of nowhere, like you're just a regular person, you're doing your thing, and someone now he looks at you and goes, "Wait a minute, I know you."
No. I was one of those viewers too. Cool. I came from Vancouver to go to Ryerson in 1980.
So you're a Vancouver guy, born and raised.
Yeah. I was born in Toronto, raised in Vancouver. So
okay.
My life's kind of been split down the middle.
Wait, how did that happen? Wait a second. Let's go back.
Into Dad. Dad took a job out there.
What's Dad do?
He was in sales for his whole life, and he took a job out there. And at the time, we moved out there, and I guess when I was about 10 or 11, and at the time it was devastating. I didn't even know where Vancouver was, barely, and you're just a kid, but it turned out to be a great thing. So, but then I came to Ryerson, took radio and television arts. And yeah, you guys were on every night. And just like John Cooper was watching Sports Page back then. So fast forward, I get through Ryerson and canvassed television stations from coast to coast, but really focused on the Vancouver market, wanted to get back home, and was lucky enough I've had a lot of good fortune, a lot of breaks and a lot of opportunities. And that's really all you can ask for, is the chance to get in the batter's box and put the bat on the ball. And that's what happened there. And was able to go back and had 6 amazing fun years, I should say, at Sports Page. Those days, I worked with a guy by the name of Don Taylor, who's still on the air.
Well, Don Taylor is the Mark Hebscher of Vancouver, is what I've been told.
He's still very, very popular, though. That's right. And he's a great friend. And the guy who gave me my first break, his name is Paul Carson.
The late Paul Carson, fabulous
Paul
guy.
Carson, unfortunately. We lost him to cancer in 2010. But you'll never forget. You never forget the guy who gave you your first break, and that's who gave me mine.
Nice. So I know that I was watching a documentary the other night, and your face popped up with Cassie Campbell from, I don't even know what Olympics it was. You were doing Canadian women's Olympic hockey. Mm-hmm. What year was that? And after watching Canada, beat the US and win the gold again, does it bring back memories of your earlier days doing hockey play-by-play and doing the Olympics, man?
Well, I got to back off. I don't think it was the Olympics that you were watching. I think that was a clip from. I've only done Olympic hockey once, and it was in 1998. I got hired by an Australian television network to fly to. I know I was
what?
Weird, I know. They were the CBC, still are. They're called Seven Network. They're the CBC of Australia, and they were doing Winter Olympics coverage for the first time. They had tons of experience through summer games, but this was the first time they were going to mount a full-blown Winter Olympics coverage for Nagano. And they also knew hockey was a big thing because the pros were coming into the picture. And there was one Canadian guy on their crew as a director, and they said they knew nobody who did hockey. They had lots of experienced sportscasters, but nobody who knew hockey. And they said, Dave, put together some, Dave Stewart, the gentleman's name was, he said, put together a list of guys that we could maybe call. And I got a call, and next thing I know, I'm working for an Australian network doing hockey there. So that's the only time I called hockey. But it was great. Obviously, I was sitting right beside Bob Cole and Harry Neal.
Cool.
And it was very exciting moment. So what you saw in that documentary, no doubt, was World Championship.
Okay.
I did several World Championships, many World Championships, men's and women's, and World Juniors and under 18s for TSN. So that's probably what that was. I worked a lot with Cassie.
I get mixed up too, because there's a World Championship every year, but Olympics only once every 4 years. And so after a while, Canada, US, it starts to run together, like with 99 World Championships, 2000. You know what I mean? It's sort of, because it's only those two teams. I don't recall any game that Canada played against any other nation that was significant. I hate to say it.
No,
I'm
it's
sure.
true. It's true. I mean, there's been the odd game against Sweden and maybe Finland at times when they had a very good goalie, but there's no question, there's no hiding it. And this comes up every time the Olympics roll around when the stage is bigger and people complain about the one-sided results that you get in any international sport, really. And it's a tough one because the rest of the world hasn't been able to catch up to either the United States or Canada in that sport. But when they play, it's entertaining and it's great. And I do have great memories of many games, including a couple of world championships in Canada, where I think I did one in Halifax, I did one in Winnipeg, if memory serves correctly, where it's exciting. And this was several years ago. So this is back when women's hockey, there was no Marie-Philippe Poulin yet. The game, and I think every woman involved now, including Cassie, would say it's come so far in such a short period of time.
Wow.
The game was good back then, but now the passes are more crisp. The shots are harder. The goalies are excellent. The depth on both teams is, you used to have just one or two lines on the other team. Now they've got four lines. And so the talent in the women's game just gets better and better all the time. So I was there. It's actually an interesting story about how I got my first NHL break. I got it by calling a women's game. Paul Romanuk, I was at TSN. Paul Romanuk got sick, and I got a call at the last minute. I was still living in Vancouver, and they said, listen, there's a CIS women's national championship game next week in Calgary. Can you do it? Work with Cassie? And the answer when you get a call like that is yes, I can, sure. So I scrambled around, and by then I'd started doing small events for TSN, a lot of Hockey Canada stuff, a lot of Royal Bank Cups and TELUS Cups, and they do a lot of that stuff, and that was my training ground.
Yeah, got to get your feet wet, right?
I'm sorry?
Got to get your feet wet.
Yeah, for sure. So, and this story relates to that. So we go and do this game at the speed skating oval in Calgary. There is nobody there. Like, I'm talking nobody except for the people on the benches. And the game was terrible. It was, and Cassie will admit this, even women in the game will probably admit this. It was a 1-0 game in overtime. Kim St. Pierre was playing for McGill, so she wasn't allowing any goals. And nobody, I believe it was U of T against them. And anyway, we call the game, and then fast forward a year later, TSN lands national rights. And now I'm living in Toronto. And now we're all excited because, hey, the NHL is coming back to TSN, and we all wondered, would I have a role in this and that kind of thing. Yeah. And my phone rings, and it's my boss, Rick Chisholm, saying, come on in, we'd like to talk to you about your upcoming role in the NHL. And I'm like, wow, great. This is pretty cool. I can't imagine what it is. And I go in, and I sit down, and I said, Dave, listen, Gord Miller is going to be our lead play-by-play voice, but we've got about 60 games, and 25 games, you're going to be calling them. And I was floored. I'm going to the NHL all of a sudden. I had no experience. I'd never called an NHL game.
Wow. And
I was thrilled. And as I'm walking out, I said, guys, I got to ask, I'm going to do the best I can here. And I'm going to make you always look back at this as a good decision. But I've got to ask, what made you think I could do NHL? And Rick Briggs-Jude spoke up and said, remember that game I called you about like a year ago, that women's game? He had to replace Romanuk on short notice. And I said, yeah, I remember that. He says, well, that game was terrible. And I said, yeah, I seem to remember that. He goes, well, you made it sound pretty good. And if you can make that game sound interesting and exciting, then you can call an NHL game. And I've never forgot that story and that lesson, because that ultimately led to me living in Florida now as the voice of the Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning and everything that in between, because you never know who's watching. You never know who's listening. You never know who's paying attention. I tell that story a lot to students who ask me for advice. Prepare for everything, every event, no matter how much notice you get, like it's going to be your last one, because people are paying attention and somebody's going to need somebody at some point. And the door opens up, and then you get your opportunity, and hopefully you run with it.
Great advice. So now you're in Florida. You're sounds like a sweet gig. What are your responsibilities? Do you work for the team? Do you work for a broadcast entity? Tell me.
Yeah, no, my paycheck says Tampa Bay Lightning on it. So it's interesting. It's a lot of fun. This is the first time I've worked for a team. I've always worked for a network. And, if you go back to I guess I was a national hockey play-by-play man, where you keep it down the middle of the road with your call, and you better keep it down the middle of the road. You're in Edmonton on a Saturday night doing the Flames and the Oilers, And people are still going to think you're cheering for one side or the other. It just never will change. Canuck fans were all over me about that too. He's cheering against the Canucks. Well, he likes this team better, and it's just not true. It just is not true. We don't care who wins the game. We all want to see a good game. I love the sport. You want to have a good show. You want to have a good game. Well, now it's different. It's fun, Hebsy, to actually give a shit who wins the game now, because for a long time I didn't. I just wanted a good show and a good game to call, and maybe an overtime goal, and then off we go to the next game.
Okay,
now
wait a second. Wait, Dave. So when you were growing up, you had to have had a favorite team before you got into broadcasting, right?
Oh, sure. I was a young kid growing up in Toronto before we moved to Vancouver. So, I can tell you all the numbers of those 70s Leafs teams. And then, of course, because the Leafs never really did much in the playoffs, I have got vivid memories of watching the Montreal Canadiens and that dynasty team in the playoffs and Hockey Night in Canada. And now here I am working alongside a guy who played on that team in Brian Engblom, which is become an amazing friend, and he's an amazing partner, but he's got great stories about those days. So, those were my formative years. And then, you moved to Vancouver, and certainly I remember the Canucks going to the Cup final in '82, which was a huge deal at the time. And then and then covering them in 1994 when they went to the Cup final against the Rangers. So, yeah, you had a bit of allegiance towards the Canucks, but you move on and you really do lose that element. I was a big BC Lions fan too growing up. And then I was the host of the CFL on TSN, and I kind of lost that allegiance as well. So
well, you're a journalist,
fun to be a fan again.
You had to be a journalist. Look, I grew up a Leafs fan, a Blue Jays fan. I'm their harshest critic and have been. And when I was in the media, I did, because I had to be, because I didn't want someone saying, "Oh, you're a homer." But then when I did the Leaf games on radio with Joe Bowen, we don't want criticism. What's only Leaf fans are listening to those games. And I guess since you're on the Tampa Bay, network, the people watching the games, they're not people who are going to watch the Rangers in Pittsburgh tomorrow. They're Tampa fans, and they tune in to hear a Tampa, not a homer, because that's a terrible word, but someone who also wants the team to win. Is that about right?
That's 150% right. And it's interesting. So first of all, the gentleman that I took over from had been in the position. His name's Rick Peckham.
Rick Peckham did the Hartford Whaler games when I was in Hartford.
He just was named the Foster Hewitt Award winner by the Hockey Hall of Fame last year. So he's at a Hall of Fame career, 40 years of calling hockey, the American League, NHL, and so on. But he did the Lightning job for 24 years.
Jeez.
So I'm coming in following a guy who's been the voice of the Lightning for a generation. I knew what I was walking into, and I was confident in my experience level and abilities to, call the game. But, it's like sports fans, there's still a massive adjustment period, and probably still is to this day. I know there is. I'm almost through my second season. The fans, by the way, have been very, very nice to me, and it's been really nice. They really welcome me as part of their own. But they aren't afraid to call me on it, like, Dave, maybe back off that Barkov goal for the Florida Panthers a little bit. And I did catch myself a couple of times in year one going, maybe I shouldn't lean on that call as much as I did. And nobody wants me to be a homer. The Lightning don't want me to be a homer,
of course not.
or dumb it down when the other team scores. We are professionals, but you said a minute ago that it was almost a criticism to be called a homer as a broadcaster in Canada. Well, now they want me to be a homer. In not full blown, like the other team doesn't exist, but my audience is the Tampa Bay Lightning fan, and they've got a great fan base. Place is sold out every night. It truly is, and I say this long before I became the voice of Lightning. It was always one of my favorite places to see a game. It's a great atmosphere, night after night. The team is good year after year. Even win, lose, or draw, they're an exciting, entertaining team to watch. So. And they've got a genuine connection with the community. Even with the Bucks and Brady there recently, I'm telling you see more bolts, flags, license plates, hats, swag all around the Tampa Bay area. It is a hockey town. In case anybody listening on your
podcast, not a baseball town, I'll tell you that, Dave. Certainly isn't a baseball town.
Oh, we can talk about that too, but it is a hockey town. There's no doubt about it.
Well, it's been 30 years. So I mean, if they haven't embraced hockey by now, right?
Right. No, and they have.
And how many Stanley Cups?
Exactly. Consider this one stack of all the Canadian-based teams in Canada. None of them have won one Stanley Cup in the time Tampa Bay has won 3.
Go ahead and rub it in.
It's just the truth.
I didn't want this to deteriorate into a battle between. Look, the Leafs are chasing Tampa and Florida every year. Last year, they got one break they got to play in Canada, and they still screwed that up. So you don't think Leaf fans are like on edge? It's like, oh my God, we're going to make the playoffs, sure, but oh man, Tampa and Florida all of a sudden. How did Florida get so good and we're still, the way we are? Florida, what a team, man. What
a race what a division that is. Those top 3 teams are, I did the first round series last year between Tampa and Florida. One of the, if not the best series I've had the chance to call. I've had a couple of really great series, but that one, from the drop of the puck in game 1 right through game 6 that Tampa won on home ice, it was a thrilling series. And you're right, Florida is no joke. They are fast, they're deep, they're talented, they've got goaltending. I mean, Huberdeau, if you haven't seen what he's been doing or saw the goal that Barkov scored,
I saw that, man.
I mean, it's crazy, goal he scored. But they've added guys like Sam Bennett and Sam Reinhart. They've really, and Anthony Duclair is a beast with his speed and his power. Ekblad's healthy. He wasn't healthy last year. He broke his leg in March, so he wasn't there for the playoffs, and that hurt them. There's lots of good stories there, and they're going to be a very, very tough out. But that's a great race between Toronto and Tampa and Florida for first in that division.
How many games this year have you done off monitor versus live in the building?
Off the top of my head, I would have to say probably this year, 10, probably, maybe not 10, maybe just under 10, because we were traveling, everything was fine. And then right after Christmas, they pulled us off the road again because Omicron started to kick up. And pretty much across the board, a lot of broadcast teams were now coming off the road again, just to make sure that we stayed healthy and just one less person on the charter flight and all that kind of stuff, which I understood. And we have a road trip coming up in Canada in March that we've been told we're not going to go to either, because again, they just can't afford to get anybody stuck up there. If somebody gets sick, they got to stay there until for whatever the quarantine period is now. So I've called almost all of last year off Tube for the road games. It was an interesting situation last year because the Raptors were also playing in Tampa, as you know. And so there were nights when the Lightning were on the road. We've got to call the game off Tube, which we were primarily doing from our booth in Amalie Arena. But when the Raptors were home, when they were home at Amalie Arena, we had to go to places like, we actually did it from the outdoor party deck on the 6th floor of Amalie Arena outside. So those were my favorite nights, actually. It was beautiful, warm weather, and the skylines in the background, and we did from studios in Fort Lauderdale, and then they finally built a studio in Tampa. So we were all over the map, as every broadcaster was, calling games off of monitor.
Very cool. Well, listen, I hope, look, I'm coming down there. I guess you're supposed to be on the road. I'm there March 7th to the 18th, but so that trip to Canada, you're not going to take part? You're only going to take part of it?
No, we're not going on that trip at all. We'll be back calling all those games off of Tube. So I'll be around, Hebsy.
Oh, so you'll be around. Great. So I'll look you up. Yeah, we're I don't know if there's going to be baseball or not. Who knows? Yeah. Who knows? It's a whole other story.
I live very close to Dunedin, and it's amazing. For years, I knew that Dunedin was the spring training home of the Blue Jays, but I didn't really know what a great place Dunedin is.
It's fabulous.
It's a cool little town. It's so Florida. You got great places to go for, snacks and bevies. And then last year, I was able to see regular season games in Dunedin while they were still playing down there, playing the Boston Red Sox for real in a spring training stadium. So it was awesome.
Well, listen, I got tickets for a bunch of Jays games. If they're going to play, you're welcome to come along. Would love to hang out with you, Dave.
All right. Well, I will hold you to that. That would be great.
Beautiful. All right. Toronto Mike, I know you've interviewed Dave before, but I know you're dying to ask him at least one question. I think.
Yeah, I just want to say FOTM Dave Randorf that you know what I think of you, buddy. And I'm so damn happy for you. Good things happen to good people, and you were done dirty by Rogers. So good for you, buddy.
Well, I appreciate the sentiments. I honestly, I'm coming on your show here today with everything's great. I'm very happy, and I've grown through that whole experience that I don't look back on at all. And I've got a lot of great friends and great memories, as I said earlier today in this podcast, of working on a Saturday nights. I'm very happy to have said that I've done it, but everything's worked out just great. But I really,
You
really
look happy. You look really happy.
You do, Dave, man. This is the gig for you. Okay.
Yeah, it's a good gig, and I tell people all the time, come on down and see a game. It's a fun building to see a game, and it's a great city, and the weather's pretty good too. So thanks, guys.
All right, you're welcome, Dave. And before I let you go, I have to tell you that the first season that the Tampa Bay Lightning played, they played in a place called Expo Hall, which I think was an indoor soccer venue before that. And
I can tell you what it is. I can tell you what it is. Do you have time for one more little quick story?
Yeah, of course.
It's a state fairground. It is a rec center with a low ceiling, and it's like right now there's the Florida State Fairs going on there. They've got cattle in there. It's mind blowing.
Oh, I know, Dave. No, because I did the interviews, the between period interviews outside with the smell of cow shit wafting from the agricultural. Like that, they said this was it was the first game that was ever played in Tampa that the Leafs played there. It was like in the fall.
It's on the outskirts of downtown.
Yeah,
and I know this because last year I did an interview with Phil Esposito for a feature for a show we have, and Phil's around all the time. He does the radio, and that's another story in itself. But I show up. And there's Phil, and we're standing in what would have been center ice. And I said to him, this is where I can't believe that what you have now for the Tampa Bay Lightning, one of the model franchises in the entire league and 3-time Stanley Cup champions, came from this place that you say smelled like cow shit outside, because it did, and it does. It's amazing where this place came from.
Unbelievable. And then they went to that Thunderdome, that horrible place. I remember talking about
it's where the Rays play.
Oh my God, horrible for hockey, ridiculous. And I just remember Paul Eisbart, I think was the first captain of the Tampa Lightning. I don't think they had a captain at first. I think it might have been Eisbart, and he was like, "Can you believe where we're playing?" Because the year before they were playing in this little box that's I don't know, seated maybe 10,000. Anyway,
did pucks hit the ceiling? Like, would pucks hit the ceiling?
Yeah.
It's not that low, but it was pretty, honestly, it's like
Arizona's rink's going to be next year. It's going to seriously a little dinky place.
But 30 years old, and
the smell of cow shit.
It's old and it's just like it's a state fair.
Yeah,
fairground.
Well, welcome to the NHL. Exactly. I remember that.
Unbelievable. And Phil said, guys, it was like their dressing rooms were in portable trailers outside.
I know.
That's where the New York Rangers and the Chicago Blackhawks, who were the first game in there, by the way.
There was no TV studio, Dave. There was no studio. No. I sat outside interviewing a hockey player,
what a great story.
Sweating in skates with the smell of cow dung. Oh my God, crazy. So there's a story you can tell. Oh my God, you were working in Vancouver at the time, and John Cooper was watching you every night from UBC.
That's right.
It's
funny. Yeah, I remember when they got the. It's funny how you look back in your life, and I remember those days. I remember seeing those highlights. I didn't even know where Tampa was on the state map. I knew it was in Florida, but I didn't even know where Tampa was. And we all thought the same thing. What is the NHL doing in Tampa? Like, what are they trying to pull here?
I know.
And look
fantastic. Dave, I'm staying in Madeira Beach, so I'm not far from you. We're gonna hook up when we're down there. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it. And have a great day. And man, I would say go Bolts, but you got the Leafs in the same division, buddy. So we're always going to be at odds there.
All good. Thanks, Mike and Hebsy. Thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure to talk to both of you guys.
Thank you. All right. That was great stuff. That's Dave Randorf, play-by-play man of the Tampa Bay Lightning. As he says, he's got to not root for them, but he hopes they win every game. It's different.
His checks are signed by the Tampa Bay
Lightning. And he's got to be upfront about that these days. All right, let's get into we haven't discussed the Raptors because they're not playing this weekend. It's the NBA All-Star weekend.
Speaking of a team that started in a terrible place to play before their proper arena was built, they were playing at the Dome.
It was off. That was awful. They get a few days rest, the Raptors do, as the NBA circus moves to Cleveland for All-Star Week. Cleveland in February, Mike, nothing better. Beautiful.
Well, we can't point fingers.
Who wouldn't want to make that trip today?
Remember how cold it was when we hosted that All-Star game? That was the coldest.
Oh, it was ridiculous.
We had ever. Unbelievable.
Ridiculous. But a lot of fun, man, when they were here. The Raptors hit the break with a record of 32-25. That's good for 7th place in the East. So as you know, the NBA playoff system is they have a play-in tournament. Teams seeded 7th through 10th have to play, right? And then for the last 2 spots. So it would be lovely if the Raps could avoid that nonsense and finish 6th or higher. Not going to be easy. They got a great team, but the teams above them are pretty good too. Anyway, Fred Van Vleet, subject of a lovely, touching, heartfelt documentary produced by Scott Moore, by the way, and excellently so. Freddie is the Raptors representative in Cleveland and is favored along with Patty Mills to win the 3-point shooting contest tomorrow. Plus 440 is a decent price. I put some money on Freddie there. NBA All-Star Weekend features the Celebrity Game and the Rising Stars Game tonight, followed tomorrow by the skills competition, the 3-point shooting contest, and the slam dunk contest. And then Sunday, it's the big game. But really, people, the game doesn't mean anything. By Sunday, it's like, everyone's buzzing about the 3-point shooting or the slam dunk or some of these stuff.
Of all the sports to take out any physicality, basketball, I mean, hockey's not good either. I'm not trying to say that, but these are tough sports to watch without any physicality.
Right. There's no defense as well. And it's a showcase.
Baseball's the only one that works for All-Star games, in my humble opinion. I think so. In my humble opinion, a baseball All-Star game works.
Used to more. It used to be more meaningful.
Well,
see what happened
when they wore their own uniforms.
Well, when they meant something too. See, they've added the home run derby to it, but they need to do something more like the NHL skills, and the NBA skill stuff is great. Football.
Yeah, well, the home run derby is a big deal.
Didn't they have the punt, pass, and kick championships at the Pro Bowl? Did they used to have that? Where the 12 because I remember I forget who it was, but like one of the 12-year-olds was like, that's not a 12-year-old. You'd see 12-year-olds that were huge.
Yeah, they had a beard.
Guys like that. It was pretty funny. 50-year-old Jacques Villeneuve, who won the Indy 500 in 1995 and a Formula One title in 1997, has qualified for Sunday's Daytona 500.
Wow.
That's NASCAR, baby. This guy can drive. Wow. He tried to qualify for the Daytona back in 2008, but failed. This is a great story here, Mike. Once a race car driver, always a race car driver.
Well, it's in his blood.
Jacques Villeneuve sure is. I was friends with his father, his late father, Gilles.
Right.
In Montreal. Interesting guy. Would always go on the edge. Just that was his nature, man. That was his nature. Just as fast as you can go on the edge. Sadly missed, boy. That's a long time ago now. That's 40 years ago that he's been dead. Jesus. In golf, 23-year-old Joaquin Niemann of Chile, Santiago, Chile, shot an 8 under 63, leads the Genesis Open hosted by Tiger Woods. That's where he went for a little tumble and wrecked himself, and according to him, almost had his leg amputated. Anyway, he's the host. He's not playing, but he's on every tee, like Rudy. He's like the Ryder Cup non-playing captain or something. Being played at the luxurious Riviera Country Club in LA. Cameron Young, Max Homa, Scotty Scheffler, and Jordan Spieth are one back after shooting 64s. Corey Connors and Mackenzie Hughes are the top Canadians at +1. Taylor Pendrith and Adam Hadwin +2. Roger Sloan +7. I made a bet for $10 on Patrick Cantlay to win the tournament. He's at 1 under, so he's like 7 shots back, but there's lots of time. I got good numbers. I got 12-1 on Patrick Cantlay. I think he's a good call. I don't know what, just for some interest, $10 on
you like to
have a little interest.
Bit here and there.
A little interest. Have you seen this Harvey's commercial?
Which one? I can't.
You know the one.
If you
hey, forklift guy. Who is that? Hey, forklift guy.
Yeah, I do remember this commercial.
Okay,
yes.
So it's on all the time. It's a woman. Right. She's a trainee, and she's on the forklift in a factory, and then there's 2 deadpan actors going, "Well, who's that? Oh, she's
like she's like the boss or something."
She's the boss. She just got
she
her
picks
burger
her
all
topping.
dressed. She just got to choose her burgers, and it's very deadpan. And then this girl is like, "Come on, lift me up there." So annoying. Because I think this is what's happened, Mike. Right. And we're going to have to, I think we might have to ask Adam Seaborn, our friend, who really knows media and such. But I think some of this has to do with make goods that the networks are giving back to these sponsors because they couldn't air the commercials because events were canceled and postponed. Remember that?
But on that note, do you know they're going to play that tournament in August?
Yeah. The 2 of them, they're going to play the
that should
one
be
in June, one in June and one in August. But the ad dollars aren't going to be the same watching women's hockey in August as they would have been.
No, I meant World Juniors.
That's what I meant. The World Junior, but also the women's.
In August. Okay, I know, but the make goods are for that junior tournament because they get all those eyeballs.
No, but there was also a women's tournament that they had. Obviously, it wouldn't have been as much, but the World Junior, was huge. So you're not going to get the viewers in August that you're going to get into. So I think the networks, there's some way where it's like, look, let's run the shit out of that Harvey's commercial. Let's just run it so much. Right? Because we owe them Harvey's because they were going to be our sponsor on the World Juniors. I don't know. But anyway, the other one is, Jay Onright 2 nights in a row on the Jay Onright the Jay Onright show. What's it called? What's his show called? It used to be Jay and Dan. It's now just called the Jay Onright.
You should know. You're the super
No, but
fan.
you're right. But I watch it. I'm just not sure if it's the Sports Desk with Jay Onright, Sports Desk with Jay, Late Night Sports Desk, or the Jay Onright show, whatever. Jay is made 2 nights in a row a crack about the betting site that Dan O'Toole is doing commercials for. And suddenly also be cracking about how often his podcast commercial, because he's on a lot. So any of these commercial breaks that I've been watching lately, it's like, holy cow. So 2 nights in a row, Jay has made this, a subtle kind of a crack, like, oh my God, we're seeing this as often as we're seeing that commercial for that gambling company.
Dan O'Toole should make a cameo appearance in the next Harvey's ad.
That would be funny. All right, I think we looked after everything on this show. I think so. I apologize for the screw ups earlier on with the dinging and the donging going on and the noises and the
we can't hear that, by the way. We only heard you complaining about it.
You can't hear that. You must be able to through my microphone. Oh, no. For sure you did. It was so loud it had to have gone.
Well, I'm wearing the cans, listening like a producer, and never heard a ding from you.
Really? So how is it that I hear it going? It blasts out of my computer and you don't hear a thing. The microphone doesn't pick it up. Okay,
I heard it.
All right. Anyway, so then I don't apologize. That's it for episode 272 of Hebsy on Sports. No apologies. Thanks to Toronto Mike for production and inspiration. Hit him up at Toronto Mike and do yourself a favor. Listen to all 1,000 of his podcasts, but not in order. Just pick them randomly, okay? Right. Or just check out episode 1,000 and you'll have a pretty good idea what it's all about. Right. Thanks. Good job, buddy.
Clear
Thanks
your
as well.
schedule.
That's right. That's right on your schedule. Thanks as well to our executive producer, Scott Allen, and to our guest today, Dave Randorf, play-by-play television voice of the Tampa Bay Lightning, the defending Stanley Cup champions. And shout outs to our sponsors, NateMakesSoap.com and GoodFootDelivery.com. Thanks for allowing us into your headspace. Back with another edition next week when our guest will be the man known as Brittle Star on Twitter. Stuart Reynolds, the internet's favorite dad, will join us next week. What are you laughing about? What?
No, he left a very sarcastic comment on episode 1000 that you referenced earlier. So just
what I left a sarcastic comment. What do you mean?
No, Brittle Star did.
Oh, he did.
Yeah. Like he's in. Yeah. Anyway, that's so I was laughing. I didn't know you'd ask me why, but because he's in episode 1000 being a little bit of a smartass. So I'm looking forward to seeing him next week.
He'll be perfect on our show then. A little bit of a smart ass.
He'll fit right in.
We'll make him a big smart ass by the time he's done. All right. That's next week on Hebsy on Sports. Thrilled to have him on next week. Until then, so long for now.